Hello candidates 2026, tumerudi na hiyo poetry. We want you to nail the subject matter at all costs. In the first lesson, we learned how to read the poem with a deeper comprehension. That is, so that you can nail the subject matter. Number 2, the second lesson. In the second lesson, we looked at the influence of the title. What is it the title brings in the poem that you would have missed if you left it out? Meaning, read your poem beginning from the title. Extrapolate, angalia, title inaweza kuwa ina jaribu kusuggest vitu gani. Today, I want us to look at something else again, how to nail the subject matter using an assessment of the poet's word choices, the diction. What words does the poet consistently use? Hizo words zinajaribu kusema nini? All of them. Ukiziweka pamoja zinaelekea wapi? All of them. Right? So, you must know how to deal with subject matter in the poem. Na tulisema, ukishajua subject matter, hakuna kitu itakushinda. You know, you can know the persona once you know what the poem is about. So, let's see. The poem that I want us to read is titled Past, Lost Past. Look at that title kwanza before. I know some of you have not come across that poem. I gave it to some people and it did not go very well at first, but later on, when after you've read the poem mara mbili, mara tatu, ndio unaanza ku recognize, kumbe this poem is about this, kumbe this poem is about this. But at first, it looks so long and so complicated. Bwana, don't die because of poetry, guys. Tulia, soma poem. Hakuna mtu anasoma poem mara moja na understand. Kwa nini? The poet pia hataki hivyo. The poet amehakikisha kwamba the subject matter ameibari deep. Na hiyo language yenye tulikuwa tunaongelea, poetic language, poetic devices. Ana feature meaning kule ndani. You cannot come and find poetry on the table. Poetry will be under the table. You have to bend and look under the table to find it. So the poet has done it deliberately. So usiwai dhani utasoma poem once na we understand. No. Unless it is a very simple poem. Hata wewe ndio mwalimu, you will read a poem mara mbili, mara tatu. And even if you come to the last question of the poem, what is the meaning of the following words as used in the poem? Alafu wadi yenyewe ndio hiyo iko hapo. Lost. Do you know that you will not get the meaning when you just read the line peke yake? You might want to read the whole poem to understand the meaning of that word, lost. Bwana, jikakamue. Jikakamue. Bear in mind that the poet hid something in that poem. Alifanya understand kwako, ukue mtu mwenye uko kwanza open-minded, alafu we ni critical thinker. Ndio utaelewa poem. Sawa? So, usikufe juu ya poem. So, past, lost, past, tumesema lazima to evaluate the title. Past and past are the same. They are homophones actually. Just for emphasis, guys. For emphasis. Repetition is normally for emphasis. I'm not saying that the word has been repeated. The idea is what has been repeated. What happens when you lose something? Those are the questions zenye unajiuliza. Juu umeona title. Kuna kitu mtu amepoteza. Na asikii vizuri. Unaona hata the tone. Asikii vizuri because of the loss. How do you feel when you lose something? How do you lose something, by the way? How do you get to lose something? Mtu anaweza kuibia ama wewe mwenyewe unaweza poteza. Kama wewe mwenyewe ndio umepoteza, how do you feel? I had some 1,000 shilling note in my pocket. Nikitoa phone, I think ilianguka. I lost it myself because of my carelessness. I will be regretful. But somebody came and pickpocketed me and ran off. I saw him run away with my phone. You know, I feel miserable. I feel hopeless. I feel desperate, disappointed. Unaona, ka feeling kana change kiasi. So, what happens when you lose something valuable? How do you feel? Whose fault is it? And how did you lose it? All those things will come in play when you are analyzing what your title is, even before you look at the lines in the poem. So what has this person lost? Let's see, the persona. So I want us to read this poem while assessing the word choices ambazo anatumia. Our objective is to arrive at a proper subject matter for the poem. So, wistful of how simple life was then. Wistful means yearning for, longing for how simple life was then. So inamaanisha then, kitambo, then life was simple. So simple life. Life was simple. Now it is complicated. I took a trip down memory lane. I traveled back. A long trip to my emerald childhood. Emerald childhood. Then I had an emerald childhood. Emerald here means emerald is a precious stone. So inamaanisha a precious childhood. Priceless childhood. My childhood was simple. My childhood was good. That was then. To mean that now I am an adult. And thought fondly and dearly of a past, lost past. Relevance of the title. Tumeshaona. Somebody is about to lose something or somebody lost something and they don't feel good about it. But there are words that are beginning to repeat. Tuliona wistful. Then tumeona and thought fondly and clear and dearly. Fondly and dearly. See, they are connected. Something you loved, something you cherished, something that was priceless that you have lost. And longed for the long stretches of lush green. We are almost home. Lush green. This is what you miss. Long stretches of lush green. It was there during your emerald childhood, but it's not there. Tushapata. Then longed for the pleasant sight in the meadow. Meadow. There was a meadow that was a pleasant sight when I was a child, when life was simple. I'm longing for it. See, the longing has come. Complete with sparkling stream. There was a small river. That is a stream, a sparkling stream. Sparkling because the sun inapenya rays zake, then inafanya the surface of the water shine. So it is sparkling, it is shining, right? Where I gulped times of yore. Gulp inamaanisha kula. Alikuwa nakula by the stream. And took my first dip. That is to swim. Took my first dip. You see the choice of words tulizungumzia tukasema kuna choice of words zenye author anatumia because they will bring a certain effect. They'll bring a certain effect. He's using some sort of style. But then inafanya meaning inakuwa obscure kidogo. You might not it makes meaning inajificha kidogo. So because we already mentioned a stream, unakaa karibu na stream while you are eating, alafu una swim kidogo. You know, you are out for a picnic, for a nature walk. You know, you used to do that. That was then. The next stanza, I yearned for the good old. So this is the good. Then there was the good old. I yearn for the good old. For the return of an irrecoverable past. You see, irrecoverable. Inamaanisha we have lost hope. If we cannot recover it, then we are hopeless. Don't you think so? We are hopeless. Already you are beginning to see what question I'm going to ask. What is the tone in the poem? We've gotten already 2 tones. Wistful, ama longing, ama yearning, and tumefika kwa pessimistic or even hopeless. For the experience of what once was when green jungle rode with life. Green jungle. Kuna green jungle. Green jungle was roaring with life then. But now, there are no roars anymore. The green jungle is not roaring anymore. It's not roaring with life anymore. What is the reason? Only chainsaws grumbling incessantly. Guys, watch out. Ndio hiyo tunafika. Sasa una understand. Kuna vitu nzuri natural ambazo the persona alikuwa nazo akiwa mdogo, but now they are not there. Tayari tushaanza kuongelea about environmental degradation. Lakini sasa hiyo environmental degradation tuna narrow down because it is a broad subject. Tunasema only chainsaws grumbling incessantly. You know what chainsaws are? Chainsaws for cutting trees, right? So hizo tu ndio zinanguruma kila saa, ceaselessly. They don't cease, non-stop, meaning massive cutting down of trees. And what is massive cutting down of trees, guys? That is what the poem is about. Over our plaid flannel shirts and steel toe boots, I did some research and I found out that watu wenye wanavaa hivi are lumberjacks, people who cut down trees. Wild jungle meets wild man. Those two wilds are two different wilds, guys. Wild jungle ni tofauti, wild man ni tofauti. Moja nzuri, nyingine mbaya. Find out. And someone must give way. I yearned for the good old, when birds built cheery nets and chirped long and hard atop my grandmother's misty heart. There were so many birds and nests, hadi zingine zinajengwa kwa nyumba za watu. You see the kind of house that is a small house. You know, you don't need to have so much space to build a hut, and then it's affordable, like if not in terms of money, but in terms of environment. If you want to preserve your environment, huts are the way to go. Something seems to have given way, and another seems to be at risk of being forgotten. Tushapoteza mingi, zingine bado zinaendelea kuna nyingi sana bado ziko at risk of being forgotten. Yet many others we have bulldozed into oblivion. Tumejifanya hatuoni, tumefunga macho kabisa. We don't have a conscience. That's what it means. Now, wooded areas are intermittent patches. Kulikuwa na dense forest, thick forest. Forest cover ilikuwa almost 100%. Lakini sasa hivi, just patches of trees pale na pale. So, now wooded areas are intermittent. Winters much warmer. Global warming. Winter is supposed to be cold, but now they are warmer because of the rise in temperatures, because of ozone layer depletion, carbon emissions, leading to global warming. Then, and somehow, the place is ominously different. Ominously, yani, si kwa uzuri, iko different lakini si kwa uzuri. Ominously, bad sign. Even flowers don't smell like they used to. They have a smell that, you know, the persona does not relate with anymore. Even flowers don't smell like they used to. And giant concrete is taking over. Concrete sasa ndo hiyo. Concrete pia inatufungulia a lot. Now we see the hand of man again. Tuliona akikata trees, hatukuwa tunajua anakata za nini. Kumbe ana invade the forest area because anataka kujenga, anataka kufanya construction ya buildings, permanent buildings. That concrete takes a bite every day, and giant concrete is taking over, semicolon, a bite every day. One great oak after another. Look at the kind of trees we are bringing down. Oaks. These are indigenous trees. It takes them so long to mature, but look at the rate at which we are bringing them down. One great oak after another, I've read that already. Thunderclouds creepily loom overhead. Creepy ominous, you see, thunderclouds, like some sort of a storm. So it is rains that are destructive. You know, rains can be destructive. That's why you have floods. So thunderclouds creepily loom overhead like pitiless vultures waiting to zoom in and unflesh us. You know what that means? They are like vultures waiting for us to die. You know, they are scavengers. So they are waiting for us to die and come and eat flesh from our dead bodies. So that is what thunderclouds are looming overhead over us. Like we will die and they will take something from us. I so badly want things to be as they had always been before we ever set foot here. Sisi, man, we set foot here. It is us, men, who have come in here, who have come to this place and are destroying it. Before this God-forsaken expedition, the journey. A journey you deliberately set out to make. And this journey we are talking about is that of cutting trees. Wamevaa zile flannel shirts zao na hizo steel toe boots ambazo nimezungumzia. They are out to go and cut trees. They are lumberjacks. Cleaner, greener, fresher, tastier. Tayari hiyo inatuonesha kwamba tunaongelea about environment. Yet in this jungle, man eats man. Watu hawezi kuwa trusted. Watu wanaumizana wenyewe kwa wenyewe. It is man who is destructive. It is man who is destroying man. It is man who is destroying his environment. And there is no resurrection of the grand old. Irrecoverable, remember? The grand old will not resurrect. Irrecoverable. Pessimistic mood, pessimistic tone. That is what the poem is alluding to. The delightful ambience of olden place of plenty, long gone. So I want to read this poem. I want to read this poem again because I've been reading line by line as I explained, but at the back of my mind, I know what the poem was about. So that's why I can cut the lines as I wish. But if you are in an exam room, I'll expect something like, wistful of how simple life was then, I took a trip down memory lane. A long trip to my emerald childhood, and thought fondly and dearly of a past lost past, and longed for the long stretches of lush green, longed for the pleasant sight in a meadow complete with sparkling stream, where I gulped times of yore and took my first dip. I yearned for the good old, for the return of an irrecoverable past, for the experience of what once was, when green jungle roared with life. But there are no roars here anymore, only chainsaws grumbling incessantly over our plaid flannel shirts and steel-toe boots. Wild jungle meets wild man, and someone must give way. I yearned for the good old, when birds built cheery nests and chirped long and hard atop my grandmother's misty hut. But there are no cheery nests there anymore. Something seems to have given way, and yet another seems to be at risk of being forgotten. Yet many others we have bulldozed into oblivion. Now, wooden areas are intermittent, winters warmer, and somehow the place is ominously different. Even flowers don't smell like they used to. And giant concrete is taking over a bite every day, one great oak after another. Thunderclouds creepily loom overhead like pitiless vultures waiting to zoom in and unflesh. I so badly want things to be as they had always been before we ever set foot here, before this God-forsaken expedition. That is cleaner, greener, fresher, and tastier. Yet, in this jungle, man eats man, and there is no resurrection of the grand old, the delightful ambience of olden place, of plenty, long gone. So I highlighted some words. I even stopped at some point. Look at the words. These ones are attributed to nature, that is the environment. These ones I am attributed to the feeling. The persona is, what is the persona's feeling towards this life yenye alikuwa nayo kitambo. You can see he's wistful, he thinks about it fondly and dearly, but he knows it is irrecoverable. Now, the catch is that the persona has a hand in destroying this good past, the emerald childhood. How? He is among the lumberjacks. Kitambo, his grandmother's hut used to have cheery nests, the birds, but now there is none. Why? There are no trees. Trees zimepungua, wao wamekata trees hadi wamemaliza. And it is an expedition. They are out to build something. That's why concrete is taking over. It's not concrete that is taking over, that is personification. It is man. In fact, that personification should be simplified as man invading into forest areas and cutting down trees to pave way for construction of roads, of dams, of houses, those man-made things that need concrete to be constructed. So it is his fault. He has destroyed his environment. How would you feel when you think about what you have destroyed? How would you feel about that? What tone would you use when you're talking about something you loved fondly? What tone would you use when you talk about something that you loved but destroyed? At the end of the day, what is the mood? What is your mood when you think about all those? So look at the choices of words. Look at the choices of words. You can see that what we had, I tried to make a list here. What we had, I had stopped at the green jungle. We had wild jungle, we had chirping birds, we had cheery nests, we had nests, we had hut, we had chirping birds, we had cheery nests, we had cleaner, greener, fresher, tastier environment. We had delightful ambience, the olden place of plenty. That's what we had. We had oaks, those are indigenous trees. But what happened to them? Deforestation, incessant tree cutting. Wild men attack the jungle, and the persona is included in them. Something gave way, it was forgotten and bulldozed into oblivion. Tunajifanya hatuoni, tumesahau kabisa, nothing of the sort existed. We have sold our conscience. We have destroyed our environment so badly. What do we have now? Because of that destruction, we have intermittent wooden areas. You see that choice of words and phrases. We have global warming. The winters are warmer. The place is ominously different. Flowers have lost their smell. They are not natural anymore. Then there is a giant concrete replacing everything. And then the looming thunderclouds. A storm is looming. A storm is gathering. We are in danger. We are not safe anymore. Then man is eating man. Man eats man. Society. Man has become so destructive. What are some of the words that are consistent with the persona's feelings in the poem? We can see that we saw wistful, reminiscent, nostalgic, longing for, yearning. In some lines, he is regretful, he's pessimistic and hopeless at the same time. Look at the choice of words. Then, the last bit I want us to evaluate, to assess, is whose fault? Whose fault is it that things are the way they are? The persona included. Only our chainsaws. Only chainsaws over our plaid flannel shirts. Blah, blah, blah. You know, that shows that it is us who have destroyed our past. We have bulldozed into oblivion. We are pretending we are not seeing things, the things that we have done. We are not seeing the wrong. We have normalized destroying the environment. Ever since I set foot here, we set foot here, that regret shows that sisi ndio tumeleta miguu zetu hapa tukaharibu the environment. On a God-forsaken expedition. God-forsaken. hata yeye anajua kwamba hiyo expedition he should not have made it. Nobody should have made such an expedition to destroy our environment. So if you look at that, what is the poem about? We have been stuck at nature. The poem is about environmental degradation. Anyone else who comes in and talks about the poem being about deforestation, pia ni sawa. Cutting down of trees incessantly, that is also fine, because what has led to degradation yote hiyo stream, sijui kama hata bado iko, the meadow is not there, the lush green is not even there. So what has brought that is the fact that we don't have trees. Geographers, you can attest that trees create a microclimate. Once you cut down the trees, that microclimate yenye ilikuwa hapo inapotea na hizo trees. Trees have a bigger role to play in the environment. They are connected to the streams. Unasikia ni chemichemi ya maji, right, ya mito. Forests are sources of rivers, you know. So trees are very, 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 very important. They control soil erosion, they break wind, you know. So the bigger picture is environmental degradation. But what has caused it is not throwing things in the stream. It is not cutting the lush green grass. No. It is not swimming in the stream. No. It is cutting down trees. And cutting down trees has led to the loss of all these things that the persona calls emerald childhood. Are we together? To the questions. Look at the questions. Identify the speaker in the poem. Explain the subject matter. What shows that climate then was different from today's, you know, those questions. As you look at those questions, I want to tell you another secret. And you must revisit the other questions for the other poems, the previous poems. When examiners sit down to set a poetry exam, a poetry question, they must test something on, they must bring something on your understanding of the poem. When they test your understanding of the poem, they cannot avoid talking about the subject matter, brushing around the subject matter. They point at the subject matter with those kind of questions. Wachana na hizo, who is the persona, or what is the theme, or what is the subject matter, how can you say this line, nini. Kuna question ambayo inasema, why does this happen? So this happened. If this happened, you go to the poem, you might have missed it. Maybe you didn't see it happen. You have not realized that it happened. So to mean that while assessing the poet's word choices, they also influence. There's also some influence on the choices of words the examiner uses to set the questions. So sometimes when you've read the poem, go to the questions and see what are the questions saying. They might reveal a lot to you, na hata huko umejua. So relax. Poetry, iko na very many avenues you can explore so that you get it right. Subscribe to this channel so that you can get more free lessons, especially over the holidays and half term. Anytime you find yourself at home, utapata content mpya na itakuwa insightful. We want to keep it as insightful as possible. Thanks guys. I'm your favorite host, Simiu LV. 0724094472 is my number. Text me, send me WhatsApp. Calling might not work. Yeah, just do WhatsApp or a text. I'll respond very, very fast. Thank you for lending me your ear.
was on my mind all the time.